Hi, it's Dr. Jennifer Neff. I'm going to talk about reasons why I recommend a gluten-free diet today. There are many different types of medical conditions that patients will have and that I will see in the office, and frequently one of my recommendations will be a gluten-free diet. The reason why I recommend a gluten-free diet is because when you take gluten out of the diet, then it is much less inflammatory. Normally people have quite a bit of gluten in their diet, and it would be in the form of bread or toast in the morning, cereal in the morning, pasta, cookies, cakes, crackers, things that are wheat containing normally are gluten containing, and those also happen to be foods that are highly caloric. When people take gluten out of their diet, they're often losing weight, and it is often very helpful for diabetes, which is why it's an easy way to encapsulate that which one does not eat in order to have health. But one of the reasons why I recommend gluten-free diet is because gluten is a substance that is very inflammatory for the human system. Now, gluten in and of itself is a toxin that plants produce so that insects and animals will not eat it. So gluten is in and of itself a toxin, although it is delicious in the ways that we eat it. With some people's constitutions, with some people's disease states, with some people's health challenges, it's really not good. So there is a condition called celiac disease, which is when the gut completely 100% cannot deal with gluten, and these people become horribly ill when they're exposed to gluten. Even if you're using the same spatula on the pancakes as you are on their food, they can actually become quite unwell. Now, there's varying different degrees to gluten sensitivity. There's that celiac disease, which is 100% sensitivity to gluten, but then there are many other types of gluten sensitivity, and I believe that many people in America today are gluten sensitive because it's a substance that we're really not supposed to be eating. Now, we started eating a lot of gluten as a society, when we started farming and agrarian societies, but even in America versus Europe, what you're going to see is that we have very high gluten strains of wheat here in America, and that's the thing that makes bread kind of mushy and really almost chewy in a smushy way. It's delicious, and it's kind of addictive. Now, understandably, you want to eat things that are delicious, but sometimes those delicious things are masquerading. Sometimes those things that are not so good for you are masquerading as delicious. So one of the reasons why I see people needing to get gluten out of the diet is because they have a system that's extremely inflamed. And when I say inflamed, it's hard to explain what inflammation is in the system, but if you think about somebody having like a cut that's getting infected, it'll get red, it'll get hot, it'll get swollen. Now, when there's inflammation in the system as a whole, you don't see those things, but it's more irritable. And so in the office, when somebody comes in with an autoimmune disease, meaning that their immune system is already inflamed, is already on high alert, I will recommend a gluten-free diet. And then people will say, well, Dr. Neff, I've never heard anybody say that to me before. And I have to say, well, this is a functional medicine concept it's very, very important. If you have an autoimmune disease like lupus, like rheumatoid arthritis, like Crohn's disease, like autoimmune arthritises, if no one's told you to try a gluten-free diet, you definitely should be thinking about that, because your symptoms will improve. One of the other reasons that I'll recommend a gluten-free diet is if people are feeling really anxious or having mood difficulty. And I know that it doesn't seem like it makes any sense that you would connect the presence of gluten or the presence of wheat-containing substances with anxiety, but let me put that together for you, because it's actually a challenge that I have. Not only are gluten-containing foods very high in starch, which breaks down to sugar, which increases sugar in your system, and then that leads you to this up-down sugar thing, where the high sugar states will cause a good mood and the low sugar states will cause a bad mood. Also, sometimes gluten can cause psycho-emotional side effects, meaning I don't know why, but it just makes me angry, it makes me irritable, it makes me uncomfortable, and I actually have those side effects. My daughter will tell you that if you feed me pizza, that I turn into a really difficult person to be around the next day. I bet you've not heard that, but it is actually a thing and it's true. So people who have depression and people who have anxiety, I'll say to them, I know it sounds really strange, but you should consider a gluten-free diet. Take wheat out of your diet and see how you feel after about a month. And many people will come back and they'll say, it was really hard for me to do, but I really do feel a lot better. And then I say to them, since you've had that experience, now you get to choose. If you feel like feeling that way, go ahead and eat the cookies and the bread. And if you feel like not feeling that way, then make more choices that don't involve those gluten-containing foods in your diet. So I hope you've learned a little bit today. I should expand on this in other videos, so hit subscribe and then turn on the little button that says to alert you when new videos are available, because the next one I'm going to do is my approach to the gluten-free diet.